I did it. I did the thing. I went ahead and watched the new fun animated movie on Netflix. I ended up watching it twice purely because my family liked it so much. Got my wife and her little sister singing along to all the songs during the movies, let alone now playing the whole album during car rides. For me though, a guy who hardly ever listened to K-pop, let alone cared for pop idols at all, and primarily got his taste in music from 2000s anime AMVs,
I must confess that I feel like a monster crawling in my skin. No one will ever change this animal I have been. Keep rolling, what?
My bad. But yeah, to go from that to...
You wanna get wild? Okay, I'll show you wild.
So yeah, kinda safe to say that it felt like I wasn't the target audience for the movie, on that front alone. But I gave it a shot anyway because I saw some clips while I was doom scrolling, and the movie actually looked pretty damn good. The animation itself is freaking amazing. The fact that it switches from 3D proper animation to then actual anime aesthetic with like 2D squash and stretch. It's just pretty damn good. And ultimately it was actually looked pretty funny and had its own cute moments. To then find out that this movie was made by the same people that made this Into the Spider-Verse movies. Yeah, go figure. The movie's gonna look good. So what I think after watching it for the first time and listening to all the songs.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, all the songs are pretty damn good. The whole thing slaps from start to finish. Every single song will get you moving in one way, shape, or another, and your gym playlist will thank you. But yeah, it sound good, it look good, movie be good, solid thumbs up. But it could have been great, and because of that, the movie's actually pretty disappointing for me. So, spoiler warning, this is where I'm gonna go pretty in depth on the whole movie. So if you haven't watched it, go do that, or don't. I'm not your dad. If you do stop and go watch it, just make sure that you leave a like, hit the subscribe button, comment how funny the intro of this video is, and leave a timestamp of where... Anyway, what made the movie so disappointing for me were specifically the characters. Rumi, Mira, Zoe, and the demons. Not them or anything they did specifically in the movie, but more like what the movie didn't do with them. Like, dear God, the movie has a huge case of the setup, no payoff. The sun pose. Essentially, it really felt like a lot of stuff with the characters were brought up, but with no real or satisfying payoff. Like Chekhov's gun. We were told about all these guns on the wall, but none of them ever really ended up going off. So anyway, I'm just gonna go down the line. For starters, Rumi, the lead singer in both song and the movie. The whole movie pretty much revolves around her. Her whole thing is that she's a half-breed, her mom being a former hunter and her dad being a demon. And outside of her being self-conscious and ashamed of the fact that she is indeed a half-demon, we get ultimately no answers to any of the questions pertaining to it at all. Not who her dad is, and honestly outside of a throwaway line of her mom's name and the fact that she was also indeed a hunter, we don't know who she is either. Like, why did a hunter, someone who is devoted to killing all demons and sealing them away, fall in love with one and have its child? He'd clearly have to be some special in some way, shape, or form, and if he is special, why? Was Rumi's dad like Jinnu, who had a kind soul but was just tricked and manipulated by Guima? Or did he pull a Sparta from Devil May Cry and just decided to betray Guima because he fell in love with Rumi's mom? We may never know. Shit, Rumi's demon powers in general need more answers and actual time to breathe in the plot. Like, why can't she manipulate the home moon as much as she can? She was actively able to tear it apart throughout the whole movie, let alone weaken it multiple times purely based on her emotions. You could say that all demons can do that, but to me that'd be a boring answer, one, and two, they shouldn't have focused on it so much, but always ultimately just boiled down to it just being used for dramatic effect in certain scenes. Like, to me, you could have just given the fact that, like, oh, she can mess around with the home moon with her demon powers purely because she is a huntress who is also a demon. But no, we didn't get anything like that. Like, especially, for example, her conversation with Celine at the end of the movie, her foster mom. She pulled up on her to give her an update of how shit everything went. Update that just said, yeah, you were wrong and things got worse because we did it your way. Mind killing me, I mean unaliving me? But nothing really came out of that conversation either. My problem with that scene in general was it was just way too fast, man. She went from asking to be put down to then being defiant against Celine's belief in the span of a minute. Then she warps away using her demon powers. I guess she could do that now. Saying that the home moon should be destroyed, and we leave that conversation assuming Rumi knows what must be done, which is to redo the home moon, but with a stronger belief of being open and honest with yourself. Just like, what? Did I miss a scene? How did she come to that conclusion so quickly? It was literal seconds. How did she come to the idea that she can make a stronger home moon? Don't get me wrong, I get the takeaway of the movie is that simply, hey, be open and true to yourself and those close to you, and your life and you will be stronger for it. But for me, I think it would have been better to go ahead and reach that point a little more organically. Have Rumi actually talk to the girls instead of have that dumb, tropey fallout the group had at the last act of the movie. To me, it would have made more sense that the girls went ahead and just gave her the benefit of the doubt regardless of what happened, chased her down before she went to Celine, and then talked everything out. So they could go ahead and, one, reach the point that, hey, no, we need to be more open and honest with ourselves, not keep our shame and fears hidden. Because just we're led to believe that throughout the movie, all three girls have some shame that they're hiding in one way, shape, or form. So it would have been nice to see that using Rumi's markings as a starter for that whole conversation, that they all together realize that, hey, Celine's teachings are wrong, and in that, Rumi goes to have that conversation with Celine, where she gives the insight that hiding your shame and pain is what the original home moon was built off of. So then Rumi can go ahead and get to the conclusion a little more organically that the old home moon needs to be destroyed, but then rebuilt with the better belief of being open and honest with yourself. Again, that's just me. To me, that would have worked better. But again, you could just simply move back to a different question of going back to the fact that, like, hey, she could teleport now. When could she do that? How did she know she could do that? Because we never found out. We just know that she can. Which, I mean, again, it's a kid's movie. It's fine. I'm not expecting like a 3-page essay on why every single thing in the movie happens the way it does. Not everything needs an in-depth explanation. But when it's pretty pivotal to the plot, let alone the main character, I say it does. Her teleporting isn't pivotal. It's just another question left unanswered in a, hey, like, cool, your demon powers have awakened and now you can actually use said powers of a demon. It's cool that she can do it overall. It's not that big of a deal, but it just would have been cool to see her use it more than once though. And the movie practically revolves around Rumi, like I said before. So if there's questions set up for her, you tend to notice when they come unanswered. Moving on, we have Mira, the abrasive rude and the super serious bad girl of the group. Honestly, Mira's a pretty well-rounded character. There's almost nothing really wrong with her. My main issue is just the one of, hey, they didn't really touch on her insecurities or her shame that she was hiding throughout the movie. Her main issue is that she has the insecurity of loneliness because she was indeed an outcast of her family. And because of that, she treasured the group that much more because they just say it's a thing for a total of 3 times in the movie if you count Golden. And that's it. They just bring it up in terms of passing dialogue. They don't actually show that it's an insecurity of hers and that she was traumatized for this whole thing. They just say it is over and over again, even though it doesn't reflect in her behavior in any way, shape, or form. We don't really get to see it actually get to her in some way, shape, or form, and that she really wants to make sure Huntress works and stays together. But if anything, she's the one most against it throughout the movie. She's the one that's been the most suspicious and antagonizing throughout the whole thing. Anytime a problem comes up, she's the antagonist within the group. Don't get me wrong, it's fine in a way. If you see a problem and you're confident, do something about it. And the whole reason this even bugs me to begin with is because she carries herself like she's already moved past it, that she's already grown past it, or in general, that her being the outcast of her old family never really bugged her because she's that much of a bad bitch, which again, that's completely fine. But then don't bring it up in the second half acting like, oh no, it was actually an insecurity of hers from the beginning. It just doesn't really make sense, because at least to me, when she brought it up at the end of the movie, when Grandma got in her ear saying they're just like, hey, you never get to have a family, it makes no sense, because throughout the whole movie, she gives off the vibe that, hey, that shit never really bugged her to begin with. So for me, it's just stuff like that just really rang hollow. Like when Rumi yelled at her saying not everything's about your insecurities. At least when I first watched it, I'm just like, what insecurities? That she doesn't punch a dude through a wall hard enough? Don't get me wrong, she did say she is good at reading people, which yeah, sure, she wasn't wrong that Rumi was hiding something. But if her shame and fear is her losing Huntrix, to me, it felt like she should have been more understanding, at least toward the end of the movie, because of that fact. Not the first one to draw her weapon on her sister and then immediately break it off with the other, purely because she's upset. But hey, I can understand that it could have been the whole, hey, I'ma lash out so I don't get hurt first type thing. But to me, that's just played out and boring. For me, it would have been cool to see that she did the whole forgiveness thing first, to try to at least understand where Rumi was coming from first, because she herself is afraid of being an outcast. So it would have made sense for her to go ahead and try to keep the group together, at least at the end of the movie, the most. And especially flip the whole trend of Zoe always being on her side and defending her, and Mira being the one that was antagonizing throughout the whole movie. So when it counts the most at the end, the roles flip. Zoe could be a little more hesitant because, hey, she is a demon, but Mira giving her the benefit of the doubt, going, I'm not seeing my family get crushed again. We've been through thick and thin, and she has been killing demons with us for the last hour and 15 minutes. Maybe we should hear her out a little more. So instead of at the end of the movie it playing out the way it did, which hey, and that first confrontation where they do decide to pull out the freaking toolies on Rumi and she runs away, it would have been nice to see that Mira would have actually went after her instead of just be fed up with everything, and in that have a conversation about what's going on, why, and then, like I mentioned before with Rumi, have that conversation of, hey, maybe we shouldn't be hiding all our secrets. And finally, Zoe was low-key my favorite character. Next to the tiger, she had the cutest moments and the funniest gags. Which sucks even more for me because outside of comedy relief and outside of being cute in certain scenarios, she wasn't given all that much to do. They gave her cute moments and then that's it. She was the textbook definition of backup singer you could possibly get in both song and the plot. Which sucks because her whole thing is being afraid that her personality is too much for everyone. And then apparently also the fact that technically because she was born abroad, she might have it in her head that she's viewed as an outsider by everyone else. That she literally is living two different lives because of the whole fact. But they literally do nothing with either outside of a throwaway line in the beginning and then the one line in Golden. They don't do anything about highlighting her shame specifically up until the end. Let alone how in the beginning of the movie the fans were doing fan things and giving a breakdown of each idol and why you should love them too. They mentioned that Zoe, being an underground rapper that she is, she actually gets intense, angry, and pretty scary when she's rapping and gets super into it. So I thought, cool. The whole trope of cute outside, monstrous inside type situation. But then nothing ever came. They literally do nothing with it. Actually nothing. Her rapping her parts of the songs while fighting is visually no different than when the rest of the girls sing their parts while fighting. So if you weren't gonna do anything with it, why let me know there's a gun on the wall? The last character I have a problem with is the demons. Not Jinwoo specifically, because he honestly had the most solid character arc throughout the whole movie and was pretty done well. It's the demons in general that kind of got shafted. To me, their main problem is inconsistency. Like, why is Jinwoo the only self-aware one outside of some gags? Through Jinwoo, we're told that there indeed exist demons that aren't exactly on Gwenma's side, but are forced to be. But for all intents and purposes, He's the only one with some kind of self-awareness and with his own agenda. No other demon in the movie has his own personality or character, again, outside of a few gags. Like, the rest of the Saja boys are pretty much zombies that Jinwoo controls, because they have no character otherwise. Even though it was set up that demons can be their own person as well, shown through other demons being full-on afraid of Gwema, and then them fangirling over the Saja boys after their first round from being back up top. But that all disappears down the line when they're all just pretty much mindless drones for their king, because none are really given that kind of attention that Jinwoo got, which, I mean, hey, I get it. Not everyone can be a main character, but still, consistency. Are there demons that can think for themselves and hate Gwema or not? It really does feel like Jinwoo's the only exception to that rule. But it's not like I can't understand that maybe not every demon cares. Even though the Saja boys had actual boy band Jonas Brother big time rush energy. For example, like when they ran away from the stage after they just got done doing their little hot sauce challenge. One of them was being carried away on piggyback on some actual big time rush energy. Or having a back and forth with Mira at the signing event arguing who's gonna sign the cast first. You're meaning to tell me that, hey, in both of those scenarios, it was Jinwoo doing that to just look more convincing as a boy band, which, I mean, I guess, sure. But again, that's boring and then leads to nowhere at the end of the movie. Again, it just felt like they didn't know what to do with the demons outside of Gwema being the big bad, and then Jinwoo because he's the main love interest and guy thing. For me, K-pop Demon Hunter's main enemy was pacing. The movie itself was pretty well paced for the first 2/3 of the movie, but moment they got to the final act, I guess they realized they didn't get the permission to actually do a 2-hour movie and went ahead and crammed it all into the last like 15 minutes. And to me, you could definitely feel that the movie really needed those extra 30 minutes to really like pace itself out and not speed run to an ending. But hey, that's just me being a critic, I guess. At the end of the day, the movie itself is honestly really good despite everything I just listed. Like, it's fun, it looks amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's cringy fun, but it's not necessarily afraid of it. It does take what it can do in stride. And despite the flaws that I listed, it still does everything outstanding. I'd give it at like the lowest I'd ever give it is a 7.5, and it's so good I could honestly give it an 8 or even a 9 on a different day. But for everything that I listed and just the amount of story threads that they leave on the floor makes it hard to. But yeah, still go watch the movie if you haven't. Lastly, of course, please give us a sequel, Netflix, or I'm canceling my subscription.